Good morning. Today, let's start with a new chapter. That is chapter number 13, direct and inverse proportion. Now, word proportion. Proportion means that the two given ratios or more than two ratios are equivalent, then they are said to be in proportion. Means if quantities are given, different quantities are given of two things, then if the ratio of these quantities are equivalent, then they are said to be in proportion. So let's see what is first direct proportion. Now, if two quantities x and y vary, that is increases or decreases in such a manner that the ratio of their corresponding values remains constant, then x and y are said to be in direct proportion. Means suppose two quantities x and y are given, and if they changes in such a way, changes that if x is increasing, y will also increase. If x is decreasing, then y will also decrease in such a manner that the ratio of their corresponding values, means x and y is given two quantities, but their corresponding values will be x1 y1, x2 y2, x3 y3, so on. So their corresponding value ratio remains constant, then these two quantities, that is x and y, are said to be in direct proportion. If x and y are in direct proportion, then x upon y equal to constant. Means suppose if the given two quantities x and y are in direct proportion, then the ratio of x upon y will remain constant. In such case, if y1, y2, y3 are the values of y corresponding to the values x1, x2 of x respectively, then x1 upon y1 equal to x2 upon y2. Let us see some examples of direct proportion in our day-to-day life. Let us recall some examples where we can see that if one quantity is increasing, the other will increase. Suppose if one quantity is decreasing, the other will decrease. So the first example is the cost of the food items is directly proportional to the weight. Now, you know that if we are going to buy, suppose some vegetables, like suppose if we are going and buying potatoes, onions. If we take 1 kg of potatoes, the cost will be less. As we increase the kgs of potatoes, the cost will also increase. So the cost of food items is directly proportional to weight, because as the weight of the food item increases, the cost of the food items will also increase. Suppose if we decrease the weight of the food item, the cost will definitely decrease. Second example, the fuel consumption of a car is proportional to the distance covered. Now suppose if we are traveling by car, if you want to travel from here to Mumbai, naturally long distance it will take more petrol. If diesel car is there, diesel will be used. But suppose if we want to travel from here to Baroda, then Baroda is nearer to from our Bharuch to Bombay. If we compare, then less petrol or diesel will be consumed to reach Baroda. So if far more distance is there, more fuel is used. If less distance is there, less fuel is used. So these both are also direct proportion. Next, work done is directly proportional to the number of workers. Means suppose if some work is to be done, if there are more number of workers, then work will be done early. But if less number of work is done, it will be completed in more time, and it will take time also more. So work is also directly proportional to the number of workers. Means more workers, more work will be done. Less workers, less work will be done. So let's solve exercise 13.1 based on direct proportion. Question number 1. Dear students, you don't have to copy the questions while you write the solutions in the CW. So, question number 1 is, following are the car parking charges near a railway station up to 4 hours rupees 60, 8 hours rupees 100, 12 hours rupees 140, 24 hours rupees 180. Check if the parking charges are in direct proportion to the parking time. Now it is given that near railway station the parking charges of the car is given that for suppose the car is parked for 4 hours, yeah, less than 4 hours the charge is rupees 40. For 8 hours the charge is rupees 100. For 12 hours the charge is rupees 140. And for 24 hours the charge is rupees 180. We have to check whether the given relation, that is parking charge and parking time, are in direct proportion or not. So for that we have to find out the corresponding ratios of given x1 and y1. So for solution of question number 1, let us draw one table where first parking time, parking charges and the ratio. Ratio means in 1 hour what is the cost of 1 hour for different quantities, corresponding quantities, that we have to find. So the 3 columns we will do, first the parking time, then parking charges, and then the cost for 1 hour, that is parking charges upon parking time. Now for 4 hours parking charge is rupees 60, so the cost for 1 hour is 60 upon 4, that is rupees 15. Similarly for 8 hours it is rupees 100, so the parking cost will be 100 upon 8, that is equal to 25 upon 2. For 12 hours it is rupees 140, so the cost for 1 hour will be 140 upon 12 equal to 35 upon 3. And for 24 hours the charges is rupees 180, so the cost for 1 hour will be 180 upon 24 equal to 15 upon 2. Here you can reduce if possible, you know that 4 ones are and 4 15s are. Similarly here you can cut with 4 2s are and 4 25s are. Here also you can cut 4 3s are and 4 35s are. Here also you can cut 12 2s are and 12 15s are. So we have reduced and we are getting this. Now you can see this, all the ratios we have obtained 1 2 3 4, these are not constant, means they are not same. Here 15 is not equal to 25 upon 2, is not equal to 35 upon 3, is not equal to 15 upon 2. Therefore, the parking charges are not in direct proportion with the parking time. Means compulsory if we get the corresponding ratios is constant, yes, same number, then only it is in direct proportion, or else it is not in direct proportion. Here as all the ratios are different, so it is not in direct proportion. Now next question number 2. A mixture of paint is prepared by 1 part of red pigment with 8 parts of base. In the following table, find the parts of base that need to be added. Okay. Now one table is given and it is given that if in 1 part of red pigment 8 part of base is mixed for painting purpose. Now we have to find out how many parts of base are mixed for different parts of red pigment. Now let us see the table first. Here you can see the table. We will copy the table first, that is parts of red pigment are given 1 and parts of base added is given as 8. We have to find that if the parts of red pigment are 4, how many parts of base should be added. Similarly for 7, how many, for 12, how many, for 20, how many. So let the red pigment be represented by x1, x2, x3 and so on, and the base represented by y1, y2, y3 and so on. As the base increases, the required number of red pigment will also increase. Yes. So here, therefore, the quantities vary directly. Means here it is only in direct proportion. The quantities are in direct proportion. Therefore, we have x1 upon x2 equal to y1 upon y2 equal to x3 upon y3 equal to, will carry on till whatever numbers it is given. So here this ratio of these quantities will be equal. Now already it is given that x1 upon y1, it is given here, we have taken first corresponding value as x1, another y1, so it is given x1 here you can see 1 and y1 you can see here 8. So x1 upon y1 equal to 1 upon 8. Using this we will find the remaining y2, y3, y4 and y5. So now as we know that this is the ratio we should get, 1 upon 8. This ratio should be same for all the corresponding ratios. So we will have x2 upon y2 equal to 1 upon 8. Now we know the value of x2 here, but we don't know the value of y2. But we know that the ratio should be 1 upon 8. So x2 we have know that it is 4. So we will write 4 upon y2 equal to 1 upon 8. Now again here you can see that y2 will go up and 8 will go there. So implies that y2 equal to, will do cross multiplication. So we get y2 equal to 4 into 8, that is equal to 32. Next, again x3 upon y3 will be equal to 1 upon 8 because this constant will remain same for each and every corresponding ratios. Implies that now x3 is given 7, so 7 upon y3 equal to 1 upon 8. Again we will do cross multiplication, so implies that 7 into 8 equal to y3. Therefore y3 equal to 7 8s are 56. Again x4 upon y4 equal to 1 upon 8. Implies that value of x4 is given as 12. So 12 upon y4 equal to 1 upon 8. Again we will do cross multiplication. So we will get here cross multiplication is done in this way. y4 will go here and x8 will go here, and that is division becomes multiplication. So we get y4 equal to 12 multiplied by 8 equal to 96. And the last, that is x5 upon y5 equal to 1 upon 8. Implies that value of x5 is given 20. So 20 upon y5 equal to 1 upon 8. Implies that y5 equal to 20 multiplied by 8 equal to 160. So here you can see as the number of red pigment increases, base also increases. Next, question number 3. In question 2 above, if one part of a red pigment requires 75 milliliter of base, how much red pigment should be mixed with 1800 milliliter of base? Now here it is related to question number 3 is related to question number 2 only. Only the change is there that there now base is given in volume. So it is given that in one part of red pigment 75 milliliter of base is required. So we have to find out that in if the base is 1800 milliliter, how much red pigments we will have. So we have x1 upon y1 equal to 1 upon 8, which ratio is already given in the previous question, and that will be equal to same as the corresponding ratio, that is x2 upon y2. Here x1 is 1, y1 is 8, y2 is given as, here x1 is 8, x1 is 1, y1 is 75 because it is given that for 7500 milliliter base, one red pigment is prepared. So, and if y2, that is if 1800 milliliter of base is used, how many parts of red pigment will be required, that we have to find. So here x1 is 1, y1 is 75 and y2 is 1800. Therefore 1 upon 75 equal to x2 upon 1800. Implies that x2 equal to 1800 upon 75. Again you will do the cross multiplication here. This 1800 you have to take up only, no need to do anything else because we have to find the value of x2, so we'll take 1800 up, so we'll get x2 equal to 1800 upon 75. When we reduce this given fraction, we get x2 equal to 24. So for 1800 milliliter of base, 24 red pigment parts are required to make the paint. Next, question number 4. A mixture in a soft drink factory fills 840 bottles in 6 hours. How many bottles will it fill in 5 hours? Now let us see the table. Now number of bottles filled and number of hours. So 840 bottles are filled in 6 hours, and we have to find out how many bottles are filled in 5 hours. For more number of hours, more number of bottles will be filled. Thus, given quantities vary directly, means the given quantities are in direct proportion, because you can see that if more numbers are there, more number of water will be filled. If less numbers are there, or number of hours are there, then less number of bottles will be filled. Therefore, 840 upon x equal to 6 upon 5. Yes, let us suppose the second, that how many number of bottles are filled, that we don't know, so we suppose it as x. So we get 840 upon x equal to 6 upon 5. Now again doing the cross multiplication, that is 5 will take on left hand side and x will take on right hand side. So we get 840 into 5 equal to 6x, implies that x equal to 840 multiply by 5. Reducing, we will get, yes, 6 and 840 will cut, we can cut this. 6 14s are 84 and 0 as it is, so we'll get x equal to 140 multiplied by 5, that is equal to 700. Thus required number of bottles is 700, means in 5 hours it can fill 700 number of bottles. Here you can see after the solution that as the number of hours are decreasing, the number of bottles filled is also decreased. Dear students, please copy all these in your regular CW. Thank you.